Let me ask you something. Since you moved to the USA, has your bank ever charged you a fee and you had no idea why? Or maybe you tried to open a bank account and got rejected, and nobody explained what went wrong. Or maybe right now, every single month, your bank is quietly taking money from you, and you don't even realize it's happening. If any of that sounds familiar, this video is going to change how you think about banking in America forever. Because today I'm going to show you exactly what banks are hiding from newcomers, exactly what fees you are paying that you should never be paying, and exactly how to stop it, starting today. Stay with me until the end, because the last secret I share is the one most immigrants never find out until it's too late. So let's start from the very beginning. When you first arrive in the USA, one of the first things everyone tells you is, go open a bank account. And that makes sense. You need somewhere to receive your salary, pay your rent, buy groceries. Banking is the foundation of everything here. But here's what nobody tells you. The moment you walk into a traditional bank and open that account, the clock starts ticking. Because most big banks in America have something called a monthly maintenance fee. This is a fee they charge you just for having your account open. You didn't spend anything. You didn't do anything wrong. They just take money from you every single month because you are their customer. In 2025, the average monthly maintenance fee in the USA reached $13.51. That means the average person is paying about $162 every single year just to keep their bank account open. And for someone who just arrived here, who is working hard, saving every dollar, $162 is not a small number. That is a phone bill. That is groceries for a week. That is money that should be in your pocket, not the bank's pocket. And here's what makes it even worse. 63% of checking accounts in America still charge this fee. So if you just walked into any random bank and opened an account, there is a very high chance you are being charged right now and you don't even know it. Now, before we talk about how to avoid this, I want to explain something very important that many newcomers get completely wrong. A lot of immigrants believe that to open a bank account in America, you must have a social security number. This is one of the biggest myths in immigrant banking, and it has stopped thousands of people from even trying to open an account. The truth is, you do not need a social security number to open a bank account in the USA. Banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, PNC Bank, and many credit unions will accept an ITIN instead. ITIN stands for Individual Taxpayer Identification Number, and it is issued by the IRS, which is the tax authority in the USA. If you don't have a social security number, you can apply for an ITIN using a form called W-7, which you can find on the IRS website. Some banks will even accept just your foreign passport or a government ID from your home country, along with proof of your address in the USA. And if you have no SSN and no ITIN yet, certain banks like PNC will ask you to fill out a form called W-8-BEN, which simply confirms that you are not a US taxpayer. That's it. You hand them that form and you can still open an account. So if a bank teller ever tells you that you cannot open an account without a social security number, I want you to know that is incorrect. You can ask to speak with a manager. You can try a different branch. Or you can go to a different bank entirely. Because the policy exists, the teller just doesn't always know it. Now let me explain how these fees actually work, because this is where things get really sneaky. When you open a traditional bank account, they will tell you about the monthly fee. But they will also tell you that you can avoid it if you meet certain conditions. For example, Chase tells you that if you receive $500 or more in direct deposits every month, they will waive the fee. Bank of America has similar conditions. Sounds fair, right? But here's the problem. When you first arrive in the USA, you may not have a job yet. You may not have direct deposit set up. You may be sending money to your account from another source. And in those early months, while you are still getting settled, the bank is charging you every single month. By the time you realize it, you may have already paid $50, $60, maybe more, just in fees. And that is just the monthly fee. There are other fees hiding in your account that nobody explains at the beginning. There is the overdraft fee. This is the most dangerous one. Overdraft happens when you spend more money than you have in your account. For example, imagine you have $100 in your bank. You buy something for $40, then something for $30, and then your phone bill of $95 comes out automatically. Now you don't have enough money to cover everything. The bank will often still process the payment, but then they charge you a fee for going negative. That fee is typically around $27 to $35 each time. And here's the secret that banks absolutely do not volunteer to tell you. Many banks deliberately process your largest transaction first. So instead of processing your small purchases in the order you made them, they process the big one first, which drains your balance. And then suddenly all your smaller transactions also trigger overdraft fees. One bad day with a low balance can cost you $70, $80, even $100 in fees, just from transactions you already made. That is not an accident. That is a system designed to charge you more. The good news is that banks are required to ask you if you want to opt in to overdraft coverage. And the honest advice? Say no. If you opt out, your card will simply be declined when you don't have enough money. Yes, it can be a little embarrassing at a checkout, but it is much better than getting hit with a $35 fee every time. Then there is the out-of-network ATM fee. If you use an ATM that does not belong to your bank, you will be charged by the ATM itself and also by your own bank. In 2025, the average cost of using an out-of-network ATM is $4.86 per transaction. If you do this even twice a week, you are looking at almost $500 a year in ATM fees alone. And if you regularly send money back home to your family, which many immigrants do, wire transfer fees can add up to $25 to $35 every single time you send money. Monthly, that is a significant cost that most people just accept without questioning it. So what is the solution to all of this? This is where the real secret comes in. Online banks and fintech companies have completely changed the banking game, and most newcomers don't know they even exist. Banks like Chime, SoFi, Capital One 360, Ally, and Varo charge zero monthly maintenance fees. No minimum balance required, no direct deposit conditions, zero. Chime was just named the best overall checking account of 2026 by NerdWallet. SoFi gives you a checking and savings account together, pays you interest on your balance, and gives you access to over 55,000 fee-free ATMs. Capital One 360 has access to over 70,000 fee-free ATMs. Varo is excellent for students and young earners. None of these charge you just to have an account. Now you might be thinking, but are these banks safe? Absolutely. All of them are FDIC insured, which means your money is protected up to $250,000 even if the bank has a problem. The FDIC is the US government system for protecting bank deposits. So your money is just as safe in Chime or SoFi as it is in Chase or Bank of America. The difference is, you are not paying $162 every year for nothing. There is one important thing I have to be very honest with you about, because I care about your situation and I want to give you real information. In 2025, the IRS, the U.S. Tax Authority, signed an agreement with the Department of Homeland Security to share certain information about individuals who have filed taxes using an ITIN. This means that if you are undocumented or are concerned about your immigration status, you should speak with an immigration lawyer before you take any steps involving your ITIN or tax filings. Opening a bank account itself is generally safe, but your broader financial and legal situation is something a professional should guide you on. I am telling you this because you deserve to know the full picture, not just the convenient parts. Now let me give you the practical step-by-step so you can take action today. The very first thing you should do is check your current bank account right now. Log into your banking app, go to your transaction history, and look for any charge that says monthly service fee, maintenance fee, or account fee. If you see it, you are losing money every month. The next step is to find out if that fee can be waived. Call your bank or check their website. Ask exactly what conditions you need to meet to get the fee removed. If it requires a minimum balance you cannot maintain, or a direct deposit amount you cannot guarantee, it may be time to switch. If you are switching or opening your first account, go to the website of one of the zero-fee banks I mentioned: Chime, SoFi, Capital One 360. Most of these can be opened online in 5 to 10 minutes. You will need a government ID, your passport works, and a US address. Some of them do not even require proof of address at all. When you open the account, immediately do two things. First, opt out of overdraft protection when they ask. Second, go into the settings and turn on low balance alerts so your phone notifies you when your balance drops below a certain amount. These two steps alone will protect you from the most common and costly banking mistakes newcomers make. If you have been rejected by a bank in the past because of something called ChexSystems, which is a banking blacklist that tracks accounts that were closed due to overdrafts or other issues, know that Chime and Varo specifically offer what are called second chance accounts. These accounts are designed for people who have had banking problems before. No credit check, no ChexSystems requirement, just a simple application online. And finally, if you are regularly sending money back home to your family, please look into proper international transfer services, because your bank's wire transfer fee of $25 to $35 every time is one of the most avoidable costs in immigrant financial life. There are apps and services that can dramatically reduce that cost, and that is a topic I will cover in a dedicated video very soon. Here is what I want you to walk away with today. Banking in America is not complicated once someone explains the rules to you. But the system is not designed to explain the rules to you. It is designed to keep you paying. The monthly fee, the overdraft trap, the ATM charges, the wire fees, None of these have to be your reality. You have better options, and now you know what they are. If this video helped you understand something that nobody ever explained to you before, please share it with one person in your community who just arrived here. Because the best thing we can do for each other is share the information that actually matters. Like this video, subscribe if you want more content like this, and I will see you in the next one.